To this computer, yes.
Let's
Share
get the
screen.
show on the road,
Share sound.
on the
We're
track.
so sharing. It's so nice.
Oh,
I know.
That's not what I wanted to share. I wanted to share
oh,
this.
come on.
No, I'm sharing the right thing. My
Fine,
screen's
fine.
looking weird. See?
Don't share unwanted
Welcome to Everyone Racers, a show designed for the world of low-dollar racing and oddball car culture. It doesn't matter what kind of lemon champ or lucky track dog league you run, SCCA or NASA, we won't discriminate as long as you drive it hard and build it yourself. Join us each week for tech discussions, tips, tricks, as well as news and notes from the world of amateur endurance racing. Whether it's on the spot, hella sweet, or we're lucky enough and I give you just the tip, we are sure you'll giggle a little and learn even less. Everyone report to the paddock.
This is Chris.
I sound awesome. This is Chrissy.
Jeff, hopefully last week of working too much is still not here. And I just noticed in the background of the video where you're wearing your cupcake hat, it's big sexy. Darren is like walking behind you in a yellow 3 p.m. shirt.
Yeah.
And he looked then like I look now because he had the big mop of hair. But now he's got even more hair.
Pretty much. Yep.
This is long
And
and
I'm
flowing.
mental. Yes.
You're
it
mental.
is.
There we go.
And we are Everyone Racers. Welcome to another Ferrari episode of our podcast. We know there's a lot of Ferraris in this number range. We got it. It's episode 296. And the Ferrari 296 is a two-seater offered as a GTB coupe and GTS folding hardtop convertible. But what sets it apart is that it's also a plug-in hybrid. This is actually a modern current Ferrari that actually looks good too, because not all modern Ferraris look good. This one, it does, which is nice. Twin turbo V6 and electric drive make 819 horsepower. It's also Ferrari's first stock 6-cylinder offering, as the Dino was marketed under the sub-brand Dino, not technically a Ferrari, as real tifosi will tell you, because they're boppity boopity. So if you're not driving your 560 horsepower per ton supercar, check out our bingo card. It has an electric only mode if you find the right button.
Wow, that's deep.
I know, right?
Okay.
So it's time for what you're working on.
Okay.
I'm going to go with the person who I don't know directly what they were working on,
Fine.
which is Mental. So Mental, what are you working on?
I actually sort of had a relaxing weekend, but a busy week. The new Rami video with my Miata and a 964 Cabrio and a Boxster dropped yesterday, and I did some pimp work on that. We had some responses on our Instagram. And our former guest, and unfortunately lost his seat this year, IMSA driver, Trevor Andrusco, came through town celebrating his birthday with his girlfriend. And so we did the town. We went out and got a text from him the next morning telling me how much he didn't appreciate how drunk I got him. That's on you, Trevor. I didn't do that. I'm the one that got up 3.5 hours later and went to work. But it was actually,
no.
Yeah, it was that kind of day. It was actually great to see him. We talked, but it had been a while since we hung out. And I got press passes through a contact at work who's involved. He has written a lot of scripts. He signed a bunch of NDAs. He gets to see a lot of movies before they go. And one of these, he's on a list, and we got to go see Fast X, which is the new on the Fast and Furious, or Fast 10 if you're a stickler. Fast and Furious franchise. Fastest. Yes, you're free. Anyway, and I put this in our Slack channel. If you liked the franchise, you will enjoy this one. You just got to turn the brain off. That's not how nitrous works. Okay, whatever. That's cool. But yes,
danger to manifold.
Danger to manifold.
Yes. Do you have to see all the rest of them? Do you have to see any of them to see this one?
No.
Sometimes they have reoccurring characters sometimes. And
they're like, all. Every reoccurring character is in this one, including the ones who died. But the writers of the
CGI is good.
No, they explain why they're back and that kind of thing. I will say, if you're on the fence, every time they've introduced a villain in this series, it's always who can be more macho. First it's Jason Statham versus Vin Diesel. oh, you're going to everything you ever did to me. And then, then it's The Rock, I know you don't feel like you're under arrest yet, but it'll sink in. And then it's John Cena. And then it's just macho, macho, macho. And then they go and find friggin' Jason Momoa. Nope. Jason goes completely left field on this one. He is a very endearing villain. I'm not just saying that because I'm copying his hairstyle. Jason Momoa, best part of Fast X. He is hysterical. So if you're on the fence and you like Jason Momoa, go see it. You'll love him.
Okay. Cool. I'll wait till it's out on hopefully YouTube or Netflix, and then I might watch it on Friday.
Just fast forward through the non-Jason Momoa parts. It's great.
Got it. Good plan.
Chrissy, I don't have any idea what either of you are working on. What are you?
I did some gardening. I have been buying my vegetable plants and trying to keep them alive. Some of them are a little crispy, so we'll see how that goes. I really like buying a plant for $3 and then getting a full season's worth of vegetables. It makes me very happy. I hosted Mother's Day dinner, had the whole fam over with the kids, the nephews, and my sister. And I've been doing other stuff, local library stuff, and just paperwork and other enough. I did some studying, normal junk. Chris, you've been actually working on cars. Let's talk about that.
Somewhat. After traveling for work last week, I was able to do a little bit. Mazda got new brakes on it. I got to put some low mileage used calipers on the front because the ones we had 150,000 miles while we had them, and we got them out of a junkyard car. So they were getting some uneven pad wear these days. So they're going to get rebuilt, and we've got some used ones on there with new pads and new brake hoses. Because again, the brake hoses were the original 250,000-mile brake hoses for the car. I said, I might as well replace those while I have it all apart because they're like $9. So okay, done. Worked on some heat shield adjusting under the car, trying to make sure I've got that in good shape. You made nice
heat shields under there.
We did.
No,
I've
all
adjusted
them
on that one. All four of us.
No.
It's
great. The Civic we all worked on. The Mazda was losing a lot of OEM stuff, but there are some spots where they had like gaps in it, and I was reshaping it and putting other heat shielding tape to cover some of the gaps.
Didn't I work on some of that?
You worked on some of the forward stuff, which but I had to do a little adjustment on the heat shielding around the fuel tank. I'll make sure we're safe there. I cut a hole in the top of the back seat to get to the fuel pump because I realized we have the original pump in that car, and the only way to get to it is to drop the tank. So while the tank had very little gas in it, dropped it down, cut a nice hole in it, made a aluminum plate for it with weather stripping on the outside, and used the original bolt holes and screws and things like that to make it fit on there. So now if anything goes wrong with the fuel pump, we don't have to drop the tank, which is a really nice thing to do.
Which guarantees nothing will go wrong with the fuel pump.
I don't think you should say that at all.
I have a new assembly coming from Rock Auto that I'm just going to leave in the box and bring with us.
You spent a whole night
I don't have to
doing research on that too.
Well, I tried to get one from somewhere else. I asked Doucheworks. They couldn't help me. I looked at, I even talked to their tech department, sent them a bunch of measurements, and he's like, I don't have anything for you. So then I went to Summit and all the measurements and looking at all the wall bros and all the things. Nope, nothing's going to work exactly. So Rock Auto had a Hella brand assembly for almost a third of the price of the Delphi one. And I said, well, Hella is usually a pretty good quality brand of stuff, so I'll try that for the $100 instead of the $280. So yeah. So the stock one's back in for now, but we've got the replacement should we need it, which means we probably won't.
Which is fine. Let's have it in the bio.
Yeah. I fixed Chrissy's treadmill. The deck had started to come apart because those are just MDF's decks, and they start to flex and come apart a bit. So
yeah, because you bounce down on them. Yeah.
Yep. So I took the deck apart, flipped it over, ground it out a bit, wood glue in there, epoxy. Took some scrap angle iron and screwed that to the deck.
You went above and beyond is what happened.
I flipped all the hardware in the deck from the front to the back and re-drilled all the holes. So the front is the back is the front. And then I took a layer of epoxy from boat building and put that on the bottom, which
you crisped up her treadmill.
I know.
Yeah. And then I had some strips of wood that I put in I put in the epoxy, and then I put all these tires and brake rotors on it to hold it down. And so it should never break now, but it was all stuff I just had sitting around instead of a $200 new treadmill deck. So
which
That's
would have
fixed
sucked
now.
compared to what you probably made.
It makes me so happy.
Yeah.
And it's old.
So,
it's original, and I run on it every other day and
Yeah.
pretty hard. And it's from what, 2000-ish?
yeah, I think so.
Like early 2000s. So like,
Mhm.
I mean, I'm not original owner. And yes. So thank you. It was
It was a
great.
good quality treadmill originally, which helps.
Right.
And last I took my stage 1 check ride in the plane with a CFII, an instructor, and he said,
Ooh.
"Great job." Recommended me
right.
for solo. So
Yay!
You did it.
That is cool. No, that is legitimately cool. Good on you.
Still a while to go, but
yeah, totally
Yes.
a long way to go, but it's nice to do these, and I felt really comfortable in the plane doing most
That's
of it,
great.
which is nice.
were you really comfortable? Because I don't think that's a comfortable place.
Oh, fine. Yes. I find I felt more confident in my maneuvers
That's
and
better.
my pilotage versus no one's ever physically comfortable in a 150, really. Just
tiny space.
Yeah.
I remember, well, actually, no, I never flew a 150. It was a 172. Sorry, never mind. And I was also in my late 20s, which, yeah, you're comfortable in all kinds of stuff in your 20s.
It's all good.
Yeah. Nowadays,
fine.
I'm getting annoyed because the groove in my couch is, kind of starting to shift. I'm having to find a new spot to sit on the couch.
I need a new butt groove. It's a shame. It takes years to get a proper butt groove in the
but then like after you get a good butt groove, then it starts to like, shift, and it no longer is a perfect butt groove,
You guys.
Yeah.
Oh, you ready? Let's move on. No, time. Okay, bird and lime scooters are known to invoke unexpected action in folks. Video after video of them being trashed, lit on fire, thrown away. 4 normally reasonable podcast hosts rolling through downtown Indianapolis, and even recently claimed an injury on our buddy Ian from Apex Adjacent. But Chris Rosales from The Drive may have found a peak rental scooter idiocracy. The user Fresh Squeezed OJ on Reddit posted a video in a Denver rainstorm. It was taken on a freeway in heavy traffic. There you see a rented Lime scooter being driven down the lanes in a downpour with a passenger. Allow me to repeat: a Lime scooter on a freeway in, hopefully you can hear me, in traffic, in the rain, with a passenger. We're living in the worst.
And it's not like it was bumper to bumper traffic and they're going the same speed as everyone. No, they're going for the 15 miles an hour. Everyone else is going much faster.
This is a terrible idea. Do not do that so you don't die.
Yeah.
That can be our safety. It's not our safety tip, but it could be one.
I do at least feel like a lot of our, just the tips are targeted to our audience. And I know everyone in our audience would do something stupid on a rented scooter. The freeway is not one of those dumb things.
No.
Racing through a park? Absolutely.
All day.
Maybe not as sober as one should.
Setting up a time trial
try
course.
Not
over
to spill your beer while you're doing it. Yeah, no, that's us. That's absolutely.
Seeing how much we can carry on it, maybe. Not people, just stuff.
You race the lime versus the bird, which is faster. Yeah.
Until one of them dies and we had to
we
push
actually
them.
did that, yes.
Yep.
Because the bird geofencing was a lot stronger than the lime geofencing.
Oh, that's funny.
It was funny watching you guys push yours.
Yeah, we were really sad. It was really difficult.
I
We were
felt
far
bad,
away.
a
No,
little.
you didn't. You did when you stood and watched us go up the sidewalk for a while.
Yeah.
Oh,
I felt
damn
bad
it.
that it took longer. Anyway, so what you should do instead of riding your scooter on the highway is to join our Formula One Fantasy League. We've got 20 people competing right now, but this weekend's going to change things a little bit because the Italian Grand Prix is getting a little confusing because the race got canceled. It's been raining a lot in that part of Italy, like a lot. And then it rained some more. The river right next to the track, the Centeno River, has overrun its banks. So the entire infield is flooded. The paddock is a lake. You could boat race in the paddock right now. There's pictures of semis I saw today. The semi trucks, their wheels are covered. Think about how tall the semi truck wheel is.
We did Michael Deeb, one of the hosts of Bid Nerds. He did share a video with us of some of the practice at Imola. And it's and since no one died, I don't feel bad about this.
Well, it takes more than a bit of rain to dampen the enthusiasm in these parts, especially when...
There's people there.
18-4
Oh, that's funny.
It's one of those jet boat races.
Charles Leclerc, the man on pole, has gone into the barriers.
Oh my God, this is hilarious.
With only 18 seconds remaining, that is it. And second on the front row as Bottas goes second fastest. But Verstappen can spoil the Mercedes party and ruin that one too. As he hits the wall right in the final corner. Verstappen crawling away from the start.
So everyone knows those jet boat races. It's like boat autocross. Yeah, that was what that was.
All right, so
sorry, I had to. If you didn't see that on YouTube, I'll slide into our DMs. I'll send you the link from our buddy Michael Deeb.
But
Chrissy
if you're watching,
has an actual picture. Of
that's the picture that yes, we were floating around. Funny.
Yeah. So, but realistically, there are road closures in the area. They're evacuating people. They're getting more rain. So I think this is a mature decision by the same group that thought running the Australian Grand Prix in March of 2020 was a good idea, right?
Right.
It's not like sending a whole bunch of people to travel around the world and go gather in one place when there's
no problems there.
Yeah. So this is very nice, and I think a lot of it is that it's too much stress on the local economy to have the whole circus and roadshow and all the fans and everyone there. Like they need those hotel rooms for the people that can't stay in their house.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. This is really mature. That's a good word for it, because I was really thinking like all the bajillions of dollars they're losing by this. But there's how many how many thousands of people come in to just work it, right? Like you need flaggers, you need people to run the food stands. So if you can't get out of your house, you can't go to work there.
Back at the Australian race, Lewis in the pre-rent thing was like, I have no idea why any of us are here. The only reason is the money. That's it.
Yeah.
We shouldn't be here. And so this is nice to see that they're doing that.
Yes.
It's not nice because there's no racing this weekend, but still.
Sure. But no, now they have plenty of time to get ready for Monaco.
Monaco? We should talk about Monaco. I would really like to know some more information about that.
I'd really like to know about the history, but yeah, I know we'll have to read up on that.
We should do an episode
anyway.
about it. Yeah,
okay.
Good.
All right. This past Saturday, the automotive world lost a giant, a true giant in the sense of their influence. Not at all because he was Italian, but Giotto Bizzarrini passed away on May 13th. Now, he was the man behind Lamborghini's V12 and the Ferrari 250 GTO. He started with Alfa Romeo on the Ghilinetta. He then went on to Ferrari and would head up their sports and GT car program. And after designing the 250 GTO, but before it was built, he moved on to Lamborghini, where his V12 design would be the heartbeat of Lamborghini for almost 50 years. He even went on to form his own car company as well. A tribute to the 96-year-old penned by Nick Bird is on Hagerty, and a link to that is in our show notes.
Who knew? I did not hear about that. Thanks for telling me.
We do what we can here to inform our listeners.
All right. So we talked a little bit about F1. We're going to talk a little bit more later, but maybe you have some Formula car dreams of your own. On Racing Junk, you can get this 2020 F3 car, FIA approved and ready to go in California for just $110,000. A measly $110,000. The ad says the Lieger. I don't know.
It's pretty much my favorite animal. They breed them for
they're bred for magic.
Powers.
Okay, right. That's what I was going to say. It's a Liger. The JSF3 chassis is constructed to comply with the 2018 F3 regional regulations as set forth by the FIA governing body for the purpose of competition within the F3 America's Championship. The Liger JSF3 is club racing eligible.
I mean, it looks the part.
Yeah, it does.
It really does look the part.
They only had one picture. They're so cheap.
I know. Right, selling a $110,000 car,
and you get the free version.
Right.
Really, you could just.
You know what?
You could use your
help.
Oh well, we should tell them if they used code POD23 and they would get Racing Junk Pro membership hella cheap, and they could have had more pictures.
Bro, I know you're trying to sell your $110,000 purpose-built race car, but yeah. Racing Junk will totally hook you up with 50% off, which is better than any deal anyone's going to get on that Liger that you're selling.
Yeah,
right.
True.
So maybe you want something a little more affordable than the Liger, maybe a little more vintage. It kind of sort of looks like a 60s F1 car if you squint at it and you're a bit drunk.
I'll keep drinking.
Yep. This is an Eldon PH10 Formula Ford. It is British racing green. It's race ready. Even the belts and the fuel cell are all current. It's got Smith's gauges for that nice 60s feel. Extra gears,
Still
battery,
only one picture.
starter, Formula car jack. Hoosier tires are pretty fresh. 2 poured seats, so you have to pour a new one unless you happen to be almost exactly the same size as the prior owner. But it's much more affordable. It's only $16,000. It's an hour north of Denver, and you can live out your Jim Clark fantasies.
God's honest truth, though, having done some vintage and kind of, not lived in this, but moved in that space, that is a fantastic price for that car. $60,000 for a Formula Ford that is that gorgeous. And you could
race ready. Like maybe,
yes.
I'm sure the engine probably isn't, peak of the paddock, but okay.
But for 16 grand, you can do plenty with that with the leftover money, assuming that you're gonna have to do some work on it.
But it's the Ford Pinto motor. There's, you can, in fact, I think they had
Kent.
The Kent
to get everything from Pegasus.
They started making some of the Ranger blocks eligible because they were just running out of parts.
They also started making Honda Fit engines eligible too for Formula Fords.
There you go. Drop a
modern,
reliable. What Honda motor is that?
It's an L15.
Yeah, drop one of those in that, and you will have the time of your friggin' life. Oof, that'd be fun.
Cool.
Okay, let's move on and we can continue on with vintage cars. The Pittsburgh Vintage Grand Prix is coming up, but we need you to support them on YouTube so you can watch us and everybody else, and you can watch all of their live streams and all of their good commentary. And so they need 1,000 subscribers to go live. So just hit them up, subscribe. I'm sure they will not spam you because they need this a lot. So just hit it and maybe watch a video while you're there because it'll be awesome.
All 4 Gmail accounts that I am in control of or have subscribed to the Pittsburgh Vintage Grand Prix. I've gotten 0 spam, none,
good.
No spam
pretty
on
much.
that. And I know a lot of you very sharp people out there, you have your spam account that you sign up for your free crap, sign that one up too. And then when your parents aren't paying attention on their smart TV, sign them up on that one. Get everyone signed up for the Pittsburgh Vintage Grand Prix because it's going to be a great event. Another great event coming up this Saturday, return of Lemons iRacing. And it is also the return of the quote, "You donate, I drink" from our buddy Randy Bish. And all the proceeds that he makes are going to Lemons of Love and Wartburger Thief's Aaron name.
Yay.
Yes. So kill Randy's liver, help some deserving folks. Link to that is in our show notes.
It's good. That's going to be difficult to make it happen because he drank a whole lot of our really old school Midori and enjoyed it.
Slow
and
gin too. Yeah.
We didn't kill him. So I'm pretty sure his liver can do pretty well.
Yes, he is he's an impressive person to watch try and he'll get buzzed pretty quick, but from there to out of control is a voyage I've never seen.
It levels off real quick.
I would imagine that is true.
Oh, well.
So thanks for that, Randy. We'll be pimping that.
Yep.
I think it's time for
new section.
Sure. Upcoming races.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
No, that was spot on. Nailed it.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Champ car is at Hallett, Oklahoma. 27 cars.
That's
7
not much.
BMWs. It's a fair ratio.
That's a good ratio.
Yep.
Yeah. Especially
6
for
Miatas. 6 Miatas, 0 Hondas, 2 Porsches. But then the fun stuff, 74 Pinto, an 88 Cabrio, and not one, but 2 84 Celicas.
Apparently.
Yep.
And they're not the same team name. They're 2 different team names. So
I mean, Oklahoma and the Pacific Northwest are about the only place you can still find those kind of things not rusted away.
I had to double check myself because they're both, that's what it says. They might be wrong on the sheet, but that's what I got.
And now that both of those organizations are racing at Hallett, if you live near the Midwest and that's within a day's drive, put Hallett on your list. That's a great track. Speaking of great tracks, Lucky Dog is going to be at Atlanta Motorsports Park. Now they have 48 cars and impressively only 9 of them are BMWs, and that's for
Right.
Atlanta.
It's pretty
You get
good.
issued
Actually.
Yeah.
a BMW when you land in Atlanta. So now
But
there are 15 Miatas.
that's a lot.
That is a lot.
Mm.
And
It's 1/3.
3 Hondas. Yeah. 3 Hondas, 2 Porsches, an 01 Dodge Stratus, an X-Ratty, an 01 Altima, which that Altima has won several races with champs. So
Oh.
it should be formidable. A Volvo
Okay.
740 and the Squirtin' Coronas SLKs rolling up. Hopefully they won't spend the weekend in the pool this time. They'll actually go out there and dominate.
They had
Yep.
some major work to do after last
They,
race.
they sure did.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Here's the thing. So Lucky Dog, they expanded into the South. They've got their Southern Cup. This is the second race of their Southern Cup. They are also expanding into the Midwest, and they are going to Brainerd, Minnesota. And that is coming up on July 22nd. If you are anywhere in the Midwest, Brainerd is a great track. And if you've never even been in that area, it's great people. And if you've never run a Lucky Dog race, folks, you are missing out. It's like taco dinner every Friday night hosted by Lucky Dog. If you win your class, you get like this super cool Rebellion watch because Big Sexy's got like 6 of them now, doesn't he? He's got a
Something like
bunch.
that.
Yeah, it's all right. Go to a Lucky Dog race. And if you're trepidatious, go check one out as a spectator or pit crew for somebody on one. I promise you're going to have a great time at this Lucky Dog race. Get signed up for that, Brainerd. We actually got a message from one of our locals in that area, and he said he needs everyone to sign up for Brainerd so that they'll keep coming back so he doesn't have to drive as far to race Lucky Dog. So please check out that Brainerd, Minnesota, if you're in the Midwest, or start pimping up some of the teams that are in that area and see if you can rent you a seat and run your Lucky Dog race. Cause it's fantastic.
Awesome.
Excellent.
Race that.
There are none. But we have, let's repeat our time.
On the YouTube, our buddy Tim B, looking over our last episode, the $5,000 car episode, quote, "The limo seems like a 3 p.m. rally car. Effing no brainer. Bring the entire team along and friends. First person with a black flag at NJMP has to dress up like a chauffeur and drive everyone for the entire thing." I love that idea. I did not go look at the $3,000 one, but the same guy was selling a $1,500 one. And I did go and look at it.
You're not serious.
I am serious because I've got some idiot friends who are not car related here in Las Vegas, and we just want a limo to have a limo. And we decided to pass on that one. But had I gotten that one, that was going to be your 2 penalty offered to you at High Plains. I was going to drive that thing up to Colorado and let y'all make people chauffeur you around.
No fail on that plan. How many communicable diseases were in the
right?
back
I don't want to get in.
Like,
the first person that gets a lot of black flags has to clean it, and then maybe I'll get in because I'm not getting in somebody else's $1,500 limo.
You don't want to be in a $1,500 limo
unless
Vegas?
I am in. No, I do not. A bubble or something like it. No.
Yeah. You'll have many diseases and a contact high.
That is actually that's a much better penalty. Clean the $1,500 Vegas limo.
Yes.
I quit. I'm not doing this anymore.
Right. It's your problem.
Yep. That might happen. Oh, well. All right. Hey, our friend Justin Weburn shared his sub $5,000 score in E46 Cabrio, which are like almost like classics these days. He traded a motorcycle for it. So really it was under 2,000 for him. So well done.
He's actually already replaced those wheels. He's been posting a lot of his upgrades on his Instagram account, Mechanical Engineer Nerd.
It's good because
this
black
is
wheels
score.
are terrible.
They really are.
Yeah.
But
is the motorcycle working? Because I feel like that's like when you make a trade, you're like, I have a broken 4x4 in my backyard. Do you want it? And they're like, yes, I do.
I got an Xbox and a laptop.
Yep, and a squirrel. Okay.
No, it was a running motorcycle, but he actually, I think he posted up recently that he might be like selling his Lexus because he is totally into this E46 Cabrio. It's pretty
good.
Legit.
Good. On the gram, Serious Time Racing noted Mental's assessment of his car was another Miata answered question.
Indeed.
And on our super cute IG reel of puppers from Luft, apparently a Dachshund lover Lemondrelli enthusiast for Kick-Ass said assemble. I don't understand, but okay.
If you haven't seen the video, I literally It's a new thing called dog spotting. I got it from Michael Deeb's wife, actually. And she was in a text chain, and now Vicky and I do it when we take pictures of cute dogs. A cute dog gets you a point. A cute dog in a costume gets you 2 points. A cute dog doing something human gets you 2 points. But if the dog is in a costume and doing something related to the costume, that's 4 points. So that's dog spotting. And
because Chris is, the social media connoisseur that we all know and love. So,
but you do that via text. And so Vicky was really annoyed because I kept taking pictures because everyone brought their dog to Luft, and I had like 50 photos of dogs. So I made a Instagram reel, and it went off very well. Now, earlier this month,
thanks for the explanation.
Earlier this month, we missed this one, but the sister-in-law of the show, sister of one of the hosts,
yes, okay,
noted Star Wars enthusiast, and now apparently dad joke connoisseur, Jen sent us this image on one of our social medias. And if you're watching on Instagram, I'm going to ruin the joke because it's a picture of 3 pedals. And the pedal on the left says Van Clutch. The pedal in the middle says Van Stop. And the picture of the accelerator is simply a picture of the noted Dutch painter, Vincent van Gogh.
Now, the only thing that bothers me about this is that's clearly a BMW. If it was actually like an old Econoline, then that would have been fantastic. Because they did make those with like 3s on the trees, which I can't imagine driving a straight 6 3 on the tree Econoline anywhere. But yeah.
When I was in high school, a buddy had a Dodge equivalent, the bread box van with the engine right beside you, and his was 3 on the tree.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised she likes dad jokes. We're full of them.
Yeah. Who has to endure a lot of dad jokes.
Right? Yes. And she just shakes her head and is just like, what?
And those have to be like the worst because he's an engineer, isn't he?
Drives trains a lot.
Yeah.
Not that kind of engineer. Also, happy Mother's Day, Mom, and to my sister.
Happy Mother's Day to Jen. Happy Mother's Day, Chrissy's mom. Happy Mother's Day to my mom, who doesn't listen to this show, but that's
no. Okay.
And happy birthday. Yeah, I'll say also happy Mother's Day to Chris's mom, who
doesn't listen to the show.
Also doesn't listen to the show.
All right, fair enough.
It's main topic time.
Monaco, the tiny principality that has no taxes and no poverty, bordered by France.
For serious? It doesn't have either of those? No poverty.
Come on. You're too poor. Go away.
Okay. They just put them in storm drains or something?
No, you just
they live in France.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they do. They all live in France.
I didn't mean to interrupt. So quick.
It is actually bordered by France on all directions except the south, where it has the Mediterranean, and it is only 2.1 square kilometers. Second smallest principality in the world, Vatican City being the first. There are just under 39 residents, 99,400
residents.
39,000.
I was like, they're really big houses, and it's
yeah, very tiny houses, and 9,400 of them are actually nationals. They are a constitutional monarchy headed by Prince Albert II, but their most famous royal family member was Princess Grace, known to us in America as Grace Kelly. Since 1929, it has been home to the Monaco Grand Prix, a noted F1 racing event, and despite criticism for being boring to drive and watch, it is widely considered to be one of the most important and prestigious automobile races in the world. It has been held 79 times. That makes it the 4th most consistent race in the F1 series. Chrissy.
I just want to interject here. And so can we do a little bit of history of why we're talking about Monaco? Because I don't feel like we're very excited to hear about it. But Mental's going to the race. It's in 2 weeks. So I feel like that's why we're telling you the history, because he wanted to know all about it. We talked about this, but you all don't know why we're going to tell you a whole lot of history about Monaco. Good.
Yes, so watch. Yes, I was trying not to humble brag, but watch our social medias because, I'm going to be on a posting spree.
Right. So everybody's going to know you're there, and we want to see it, and it's going to be awesome. So let's talk about what we can learn about all the things we should know while you're there.
And if you feel like venturing into France and you can find where all the poor people live who service the boats and the yachts and the houses,
servers in the cafes.
right?
Yeah,
Exactly. Like how the other half of Monaco lives. That'd be an interesting juxtaposition to the obnoxious wealth dick swinging contest of the race itself.
I will say, yeah, F1 races are that, especially the one here in Las Vegas is going to be rather obnoxious, I think. But
well, this one doesn't have the super yachts the same way, you know.
Correct. Yes.
Correct.
And the thing about the Monaco super yachts, and it was the same thing when I was in Abu Dhabi. You could do really well, but if you've got a yacht backed up to a Formula One racetrack, you're evil. I'm sorry. I know you don't think you're evil, but you don't make that kind of money without bankrolling terrorists and drug dealers and horrible, horrible things.
I'm sure they were hardworking people.
Or fossil fuels or yeah.
Yes.
Oligarchs.
Oligarchs. You can't get that kind of money, like that. And we've been blessed in the racing world to know some very financially successful, hardworking people. None of them have yachts backed up to F1 races.
Chris, tell them what you think about the yachts that are backed up.
I really would like to know more about the harbor master in Monaco and how much effort goes into getting all of those boats in this process, like the process they go through.
Make sure you don't hit anybody.
Right? I want to see about that. Like the week or two before the race, how do they all get things together and apart? But that's the boat person in me anyway.
And from years ago when I was in Abu Dhabi, most of them, the people don't own them. They rent them for the week. And, it's like that show that keeps showing up on Hulu, Below Decks, where it's a private yacht that they rent out to, again, obnoxiously rich people. And, folks are working on them, kind of a deal. And, so some giant cabal of international Bond villains rented a yacht, and they have women all weekend coming on and off the boat that are carrying shoes that cost as much as, my good car. Yeah.
Yeah. But I want to know that about those people. I want to know about the people who are doing the logistics of getting the boats in there. Anyway. All right. More about
decidedly not evil, hardworking people.
Exactly. All right. So this is also one of the three races that forms the apparent triple crown of motorsports, the other being the Indy 500 and the 24 Hours of Le Mans. Only person to ever win all three was Graham Hill, but Juan Pablo and Fernando Alonso have won 2 out of 3. So that's fun. Yes.
And Fernando Alonso was 4th in the Indy 500 in 2017, came back in 2019, and they screwed up the measurements on his car from metric to freedom units, and the car was so bad afterwards that he couldn't qualify, so he went home. But he was 3 spots away from being the other Triple Crown winner.
It's pretty good. So the race has been called, quote, an exceptional location of glamour and prestige. Sure. Yep. Usually held on the last weekend of May. Tends to coincide with the largest weekend of auto racing. Same Sunday as the Indy 500 and the Coca-Cola 600 in NASCAR. This year is no exception. All on Sunday, May 28th. So that's great. You have to pick one or DVR.
Oh no, you can get all three. They're staggered. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Nice.
Yeah.
Great. So the attraction and main criticism of the race is really about the course itself. Now, this started in 1929. That's almost 100 years ago. Things have changed. And it's always been run on the same narrow, winding streets of the city. And anyone who has been to an older European city know that those streets were made for horses and ox carts and not large 200-mile-an-hour cars. So it's a little different. Especially now that because it is Oceanside, not now that it is, it always has been. It has a lot of elevation changes, got a lot of tight corners. It has a tunnel. If you really want to get a good feel for it, try the opening part of the 1969 John Frankenheimer directed film Grand Prix with James Garner, or pick the racing simulator of your choice with a VR, and that also gets you a good feel for it.
And we might have a link to that in our show notes, maybe. Or just Google it. You could do that too.
Mostly because Mental's a big nerd.
I love James Garner. I own that movie on VHS and DVD. Do
you have a way to watch the VHS?
I own that movie on VHS. I love James Garner.
Okay, fine. Despite the low speeds, Monaco is hella dangerous. It's the only Grand Prix that does not adhere to FIA's mandated 305-kilometer minimum race distance for F1 races. As Bob Judd once wrote, they only race here because it's Monaco. So true.
That's true.
Yep. It is not the oldest Grand Prix in the world, but it's in the top 5. The first Monaco Grand Prix took place on April 14th, 1929, and the race eventually became the pre-Second World War European Championship. After World War II, the Monaco Grand Prix was included in the first World Championship of Drivers in 1950.
Now, that first race in 1921 was won by Charles Grover under the pseudonym Williams Grover Williams in a factory Bugatti. Its history even predates that a little bit. Prince Louis II was establishing Monaco as a center of culture and art. In addition to the race, he had a football team. He got a ballet. He organized the Rally Monte Carlo. And when the nation applied for membership into the Association Internationale des Automobiles Clubs, reconnus, the international governing body of motorsport, to be upgraded from a regional French club to full national status, their application was rejected because the only major motorsport event they held was entirely outside of their own borders. So Anthony Nogas, which I know I'm mispronouncing.
I like that your hand goes up every time you have some kind of name, and then yes, I just have. If you're not watching on YouTube, you're missing this flamboyantness, expressiveness that's happening on our screen.
He proposed the creation of an automobile Grand Prix in the streets of Monte Carlo, garnering the support of Prince Louis II and the support of the Montagazzi Lieger Grand Prix driver Louis Chiron, which you have heard mentioned in a recent Bugatti creation, who thought Monaco's topography was well suited to setting up a racetrack. And on 14 April 1929, the invitation-only event ran. Monaco native Chiron was unable to compete because he was at the Indy 500, but he would drive the next 2 years. He didn't win until 1931 when he was driving a Bugatti. Louis Chiron remains the only native of Monaco to have won the event. Charles Leclerc is looking promising.
Right there.
He's trying. He's just got to not crash in quali.
Right.
So
the streets
Ferrari,
are so small.
not Ferrari him.
Right.
Yeah. Hey, but I mean, he knows what those streets are like. Anyway, by 1933, Monaco was ranked alongside the French, Belgian, Italian, and Spanish Grand Prix. And that was the first year the grid positions were decided by practice time. All right. Previously, it was done with balloting. Can't even imagine.
That's amazing.
Well, hey, that's one way to put Verstappen back further.
Yeah, we need to bring that back.
Right?
Oh, yeah, because people
everyone shit voting, and all of a sudden there's Albon on pole,
right? I love this, right? And everybody that loves Kimi,
how's
right?
Danny Ricciardo on pole? He's not even got a car. It's the Australian Grand Prix.
He's the write-in because you're like, bring back Kimi, right? Okay, sorry.
Like, no, I'm in sauna.
Oh, I like that balloting. All right,
that would be good. So, 1937 was the last race before World War II, and it didn't resume again until 1950. And that race was won by a young upstart named Juan Manuel Fangio, who you may have heard of. That race is his first win in a world championship. Third place that year, 51-year-old Louis Chiron. So can't get rid of Louis. Budgets and rules put the race on hold again until 1955, where it was again part of the Formula One World Championship. Louis Chiron scored points again. And at that point, he's 56 years old, still the oldest driver to compete in a Formula One Grand Prix. And we gave Kimi crap as he's in his 40s. Oh no.
And Alonso and Seb, right? They're all just like, oh, the old guys.
Wow. I think a lot of them didn't get to that age because they died back in the day.
You're not wrong.
Right? I mean, they're just sitting on top of these cars with this 8-foot wide wheel and a leather
and
helmet and
a leather hat,
splintering wood, and
right, yeah,
yep,
and like a gearbox right between their legs, and they're just gonna die. Oh well. So let's see what else. The first ever double winner was Fangio, 57. First triple winner, Sterling Moss, winning his third in 1961 after fending off 3 works Ferraris while he was driving a year-old privateer Lotus, because he's that kind of guy.
Well, the 60s were known as the Mr. Monaco era, as Graham Hill would win 5 of his 14 Grand Prix in Monaco. Thanks to Jackie Stewart, famous Jackie Stewart, the 1969 race saw the first Armco installed at specific points. That's terrifying to think that they didn't have Armcos at all.
I will keep going. It's better.
Okay. Before that, the circuit's conditions were the same as the regular road use. By 1972, the circuit was almost completely Armco lined. Do we talk about how many people died here? Because I think that would be interesting, but that's crazy. You're on mute. There's that.
They had a lot of crashes, not a lot of people in comparison to other Grand Prix of that era.
Yeah.
Not a lot of them died.
Just don't go into the harbor or
right. Or
hit the boulangerie that's
yeah,
right there.
Right. I was like, how many people just like zoop, right through the window?
So yeah, several people that did end up in the harbor, and but they weren't even going to do anything about it. But Sir Jackie Stewart like had to flex a little muscle and be like, y'all don't want me protesting this because I've got some horsepower.
Let's just do that. Like, let's just save some lives and stuff. The first alteration to the original course was in 1972, moving the pits from the waterfront to the front straight. In the 73 race, a chicane was added around the newly constructed Nautical Stadium. This chicane complex is known as the swimming pool. This created space for a whole new pit facility, and in 1976, the course was altered yet again. The Saint Devote was made slower, and the chicane was placed right before the pit straight.
Historically, the number of cars permitted in a race was decided by the race organizer, and in the case of Monaco, it was usually a low number, like 16. But in 1972, Bernie Ecclestone started to negotiate deals, and he relied on the federal organization of the competition organization, guaranteeing at least 18 entrants for every race. And Monaco let 26 cars on a tiny little circuit. Yes.
Wow.
What?
Stupid.
Yeah.
That's like me driving home in traffic.
Yeah.
It was on Quaaludes or something. I thought that was a good idea.
But
just add more cars.
Yes. By 1974, the Automobile Competition Association of Monaco got those numbers back down to 18. And from 1984 until 1993, that race was only won by 2 people. And it doesn't take a whole lot of brain bites to figure that out. Alain Prost and Ayrton Senna. In fact, Ayrton Senna, the great one himself, holds the records for the most victories at Monaco. That's 6. And that is 5 in a row from 1989 to 1993. Schumacher would also win that race 5 times. The old Schumacher, not the young Schumacher.
No,
September.
Really? Thanks for explaining that one.
Mick would crash 5 times.
Yeah.
Also, he wasn't born yet, so there's that.
Yeah, there is that. Now, in September of 2022, the Grand Prix signed a new race contract, and this race is going to stay on that calendar for at least another 2 years until 2025.
Now, the Monaco GP is actually only second to the Italian Grand Prix at Monza in using the same circuit for so long. That's the fun thing about these old circuits is somebody's going to die, especially the old Monza circuit with the bull, and that was insane.
Yes.
So, triple F1 champ Nelson Piquet, also noted terrible person, said racing at Monaco was like trying to cycle around your living room, but added that a win here was worth 2 anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Now, notably, the course includes a tunnel, and the contrast of daylight and gloom when entering and exiting the tunnel presents challenges not faced elsewhere, as the drivers have to adjust their vision as they emerge from the tunnel at the fastest point of the track and brake for the chicane in the daylight. Now, the fastest ever qualifying lap was set by Lewis Hamilton in Q3 for the 2019 Grand Prix at a time of 1:10.166.
Fastest ever.
I would like to add, as a Mercedes fan, he took that record away from Max Verstappen, who had run a 1:16 or something. Yes.
Fastest ever. That's amazing. Good for him. During the Grand Prix weekend, spectators crowd around the Monaco circuit. There are a number of temporary grandstands built around the circuit, mostly around the harbor area. The rich and famous spectators often arrive on their boats and yachts throughout the harbor. Balconies around Monaco became viewing areas for the race as well. Many hotels and residents crash in on the bird's eye view of the race. Building all of the temporary structures takes 6 weeks and 3 of them to remove them. Not surprised at all. Known for the parties leading up to the race, Martin Brundle said, Monte Carlo is the only race on the calendar where the marshals have to collect cocktail glasses and champagne bottles from the circuit on a Sunday morning. That's amazing. Yes. Until 2017, there was no podium. The drivers would park on a closed part of the circuit and walk to the royal box where the podium ceremony was held.
Now, a large part of the Principality's income comes from tourists and the casino. It is also a tax haven to many millionaires, including several Formula One drivers. Monaco has produced 4 Formula One drivers: Luis Chiron, Andre Tessot, Oliver Beretta, and Charles Leclerc. But its tax status has made it home to many drivers over the year, including Gilles Villeneuve, Ayrton Senna, Jenson Button, David Coulthard, and he was part owner of a hotel there. And because of the small size of the town location of the circuit, drivers whose races end early can usually go back to their apartment in minutes. Ayrton Senna famously retired to his apartment after crashing out of the lead in the 1988 race. And then in 2006, after DNFing due to a mechanical failure on second, Kimi Räikkönen retired to his yacht parked in the harbor. Exception to that drug deal evil person rule.
Yeah, I suppose
everyone loves Kimi, right?
I think Verstappen and Albon live there too.
I was going to say, I think no, absolutely. And I think Bottas just bought a place there, and I think they made what's his face? Yuki move there. So I'm pretty sure he moves there as well. So
Yuki's he's Sonoda, he's Japanese, not the Chinese guy. Because the Chinese guy probably moved there as soon as possible, given their tax rate.
Yeah,
but I know a bunch of people recently, a bunch of current F1 drivers live there as well.
Mm-hmm. You need to have at least 5.5 million euros in order to apply for citizenship, and that just you have to have that. Not to mention, the cheapest 600 square foot apartment I found in complete nerd mode was 2.4 million euro and was on the very edge of the town, looking basically into
at the surfs. Looking
into France looking up a cliff and
it's a rock wall,
people,
right? Or you're looking at somebody's bathroom or something, a brick wall.
Yes,
and you can hear the train.
There's no trains in Monaco. That's for poor people.
Well, there is a train that goes into Monaco.
Yeah.
Because we were going to take it whenever we go to France. We will.
Yeah. Now, obviously, the downside of all this is a lot of commentators and F1 drivers have called the Monaco Grand Prix the most boring race of all circuits, both to drive and to watch as a spectator because of how few overtake attempts are performed. Usually the driver that gets the pole position wins. Checo.
Whatever. Oh, Checo. No, that's fine. I was thinking Verstappen. Fernando Alonso said this is the most boring race ever. Lewis Hamilton stated in 2022 that this wasn't really racing. Current F1 drivers who won are Max Verstappen in 2021 after wrecking his rookie year in 2014. Hamilton in 2016 and 19. Alonso two back-to-back in 2007 and 2007.
Sorry, I mistyped that. It's 2008. Yes.
Okay, 8. And Ricardo won in 18. Weird. And the last year was won by Checo.
Exactly.
As we are wont to do, it's time for a track walk. So, this race, it's only 78 laps. The 2-mile course. It's the shortest race. I mean, frankly, we do races longer than this all the time on longer courses. So 18 turns. They're all very exciting. I think also this is the only track in the entire circuit that uses first gear aside from the pits. So,
did not know that. That is awesome.
All right. So turn 1 is named Sainte Devote. It's named for the chapel dedicated to the patron saint of Monaco. It starts up the hill. It's a tight right. One of the only possible overtaking spots. It's also where cars entering from the pits can get back on the track. So then you go up the hill. It's turn 2, the Beau Rivage, translates to beautiful seashore. This is just a kink to the right before you get to the crest of the hill. Turn 3, Massenet, the famous French opera composer. Apparently there's a bust of him in front of the Opera House there. This is the highest point of the course in front of the Monaco Opera House. It is a long left-hand corner for the tight double apex ahead of it. Turn 4 is the casino. This is a hard right, downhill, right in front of the casino gardens. And here's another fun fact. Did you know that citizens of Monaco are not allowed to gamble at the casino? It's holdover law from the 19th century. So they are only taking money from people that don't live there.
Wow. I mean, that's kind of like Pennsylvanians can't buy fireworks in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can take that fun elsewhere.
Well, the Queen said we don't have any poor people, and if they started gambling, we might have
suppose.
poor people, so you can't gamble.
Okay, that's a good reason. I
She's
got
not
that.
wrong. Yeah. Get all that money from other places and keep it here. Perfect.
That's why I don't pay state taxes.
Yeah. Turn 5 is the Mirabeau Hautes, or Superior. This is the entry into the S's, named for the Mirabeau Hotel.
Right after that is turn 6, the Grand Hairpin, aka the Grand Hotel Hairpin, aka the Hairpin. And basically it's named for whoever owns the hotel. They will rename that corners. That's why they just call it the if you've ever seen any pictures or anything, that there's a good chance that you have seen a picture of this. It is the everyone knows it's down left on the wall, the seawall. And it leads into turn 7, which is the Mirabeau Basse, or the Mirabeau Inferior. And that's the exit of the S's after the Grand Hotel Hairpin. Same name, same hotel. Turn 8 is Porter, and it is named for a neighborhood called Les Portières. And it's where they get close to the water. And that is the turn into the tunnel. And sometimes that is a good setup for a pass. Turn 9 is the sweeper. That is, of course, the tunnel. Duh. Now, it seems simple, but it's a sweeping straightaway. It's complicated for light adjustment. The tunnel actually affects the aerodynamics of the car, so they handle differently in the tunnel than they do in open air. The exit of the tunnel, as the cars brake for the next turn, is one of the only other overtaking opportunities there on the course. And there's actually an entrance to a hotel inside the tunnel, which they, of course, will have blocked off. Chris has a picture of this. Oh, he's got a picture of the course. Very nice.
That's good. That's helpful.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Now I've got to try and figure out something real quick. There we go. Perfect. All right. Now, turn 10 is the Nouveau Chicane. Originally, it was called the Chicane de Port because, stay with me here, it's by the port. But in 1986, the chicane was moved slightly and renamed the Nouveau, which is French for new. And it's very simple.
Real
left,
creative
right,
naming
left.
here.
I mean, that's a little bit
What are you gonna call
helpful.
it now? That's a new chicane. Oh,
Well,
that's
when
a
you
new-
have the guy, a bust of a guy, and that's his corner, then it's a little easier just to call it the new chicane. I feel like then you know exactly where you are on the track.
In
sound
keeping with this simple name,
Right? Yep.
turn 12, which is just a almost straight up, I would call it like an 85-degree left. It's called Tabac because it used to be the location of a small tobacco shop. And it's also where the yachts actually back right up to the course. And on the right are the main grandstands.
All right. Also, a couple turns, a complex that makes sense for what's there. It is the turn 13 to 16 is the swimming pool. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Swimming pool complex. When the Rainier, the third nautical stadium was built in 1973, it moved a straight run from the Tabac to the final corner. This caused a change in the design of the circuit. 2 chicanes drive the cars around the swimming pool. The first is known as the Virage Louis Chiron. Turn 17, La Rascasse, whatever. Named for the bar that was named for a type of scorpion fish found in the Mediterranean. Inside the corner was an old fisherman's bar called La Rascasse, and is now a newer restaurant with the same name, stands on the Rascasse corner. And turn 18 is the Virage Antony Nogaha, the final corner. The originally called the Gazometre, but when the corner was redesigned in the 70s, it was named in honor of Antony Nogaho, the founder of the Monaco Grand Prix. This is a struggle.
Cool.
I love that you got like all the foreign words correctly and then struggle with swimming pool. I'm
studies
so sorry.
French every day.
I do.
I thought she'd get it.
A little bit.
Yep. All right. Hey, did you know that Antony Nogues was the person who suggested the checkered flag as the international symbol to end races?
I did not know that.
Well, you learned something new today.
I learned a lot of things. This is great.
All right. So here's some repeat drivers.
And we will have a video of from Monaco's 90th anniversary of all of these corners linked in our. It's a YouTube thing that I found. It's in our show notes.
We already talked about Ayrton Senna. He won 6 times. Graham Hill 5 times. Michael Schumacher 5 times. That's great. Repeat constructors. With 15 wins, McLaren has the most wins of anyone at that track. And on Ayrton Senna's time, Senna and Prost, they padded that number a lot.
Yeah. Right? Yeah.
Right?
Yep. Not since 08, according to that list.
Yep. With 10 wins, Ferrari has had some success there. They had sometimes in the 50s, 70s, a couple in the 90s. They've been spread out quite a lot, but you know, they've certainly done well, but Ferrari's always been there, so I guess that's okay. Mercedes also has done well, but only in 2 very specific times. They won in the 30s.
Yep.
And then not again until the 2010s.
The teens.
Because they weren't racing.
Exactly.
They left.
They
left racing completely after the crash at Le Mans, and then didn't get involved again until.
Okay, so it's not like they didn't have winners; they just weren't there.
They weren't there.
Got it.
But it's interesting to go 80 years between wins, basically.
Yeah.
And so winners by manufacturers, I guess it's by engine manufactured, I would imagine.
Yes.
Is Mercedes has 15 as the powertrain of the winner.
Got it.
Ford,
but it's the same rules. 30s.
Yeah, well, they started doing powertrains back in the 90s. So there's some in the 90s and 2000s before they had their own team. Ford as a power plant of choice, this is no surprise. Back in the 68 to 74, 77, 78, 80, like 80s, Ford Cosworth was the engine that was in everything back then. So it was like the spec motor of the series. And Ferrari power has powered the Ferrari wins. Who knew, right? So same number for 10. Lastly, there have been 5 total configurations of this course. There's a first, it was all the way from 1929 to 71. Then Jackie Stewart, noted tempo enthusiast, started getting involved and caring about safety. So he got them to change things in 72, and then again 73 to 75, again 76 to 85, and then 86 to 96, and then 96 to now. It's only so many things you can do, but oh well. They did the best they can, and they're little.
You can't really like move a
casinos, churches.
Sure, right? Like actual buildings that have been there for
the harbor,
centuries and centuries. Yes.
Yep.
You could make like a bridge over the harbor. You could like make like a causeway.
Well, then you can't get the super yachts through.
I mean, I know.
Yes.
Okay.
Jeff Bezos will be annoyed. All right. If this piqued your interest, we will have several links to some other concepts, including a Wikipedia for the Monaco Grand Prix, the Triple Crown of Motorsport, some other historic facts and figures from a tourist website, and even the Red Bull, preferably the Checo version of Red Bull, not the regular Red Bull, on that in our show notes. If you didn't have your interest piqued, I'm sorry. It's all my fault, but thank you for listening this far.
I thought this was great. I learned so much. This is awesome. It's fun.
So I feel like it's time for probably the part that everyone likes the best.
It's just the tip time.
Tip. Great. Hey, you know what? In Imola, it's flooding. It's terrible. People are having to get out of their houses.
That's
so
why we're
gonna talk about
doing this.
flood safety.
Okay. I was trying to
This
figure
is
out why
from
this
the
is.
National Weather Service in the U.S. because I couldn't read the Italian one. There's too many properties, and I don't have a mustache, so we're gonna use our own American one. So during
Oh, you're
flood,
so American.
stay informed. Listen to radio and television, including NOAA Weather Radio, if possible. Check your internet and social media for information and updates. Get to higher ground if you can. If you live in a flood-prone area or are camping in a low-lying area, go up. Makes sense, right? Obey evacuation orders. If you're told to evacuate, you know what? Just do that.
Look at you, Florida.
Yeah, right. Lock your home when you leave. If you have time, hey, it's nice to disconnect your utilities, appliances, shut the power off, things like that. That's nice, right? Practice electrical safety. Don't go into a basement or any room if water covers the electrical outlets or if cords are submerged. It's a good idea. Also, hey, this is common sense. You'd think if you see sparks or hear buzzing, crackling, snapping, or popping noises,
go touch
get
it.
out. Stay out of the water because it has electricity.
Just kidding.
Yeah.
Don't listen.
Go lick it. Lick the popping thing. Right. Yes, that's a good idea. And avoid flood waters if you can. Don't walk through them. Really, only a few inches of moving water can knock you off your feet. If you're trapped, try to get the highest possible point and call for help. Really just wave your arms and scream. That's usually a good way to go. Try not to drive into flooded roadways or around a barricade. Turn around. Better that way. Mental.
Turn around, don't drown. That's a thing.
That I live in a desert and we still have like 2 to 4 people die every year from trying to drive through floodwaters. Stop it.
Yeah. Water
Turn around, don't
might
drown.
be deeper than it appears and can hide hazards such as sharp objects, washed out roads.
All right. I feel like
12 inches of water can float a car or a small SUV if they're tight, or sink one. 18 inches of water can carry away larger things. I mean, I did drive through a bit of flooding on a roadway here in our old Suburban, which was a tank. And when that hit the side of the truck definitely swayed. And it took a lot to sway the Yukon 2500.
Indeed. Yes.
Mm-hmm. That was really interesting. Also, what the floodwaters get really dirty really fast. So it's very...
Yeah, our fog lights were never the same after I did that.
Well, you basically saved me. So that's really good that it happened, that you happened to be out that day and I happened to be dropping the car off at the...
You weren't dropping. Yeah, you
didn't
drive
at the time.
Lowered cold air intake car through all the floodwaters.
We tried to do that once and it didn't go well. So there's that. We learn.
Yes. Okay.
All
now,
right.
normally right about now is when we would talk about our next show promo. Stay with us on this one. Chris and Chrissy are actually going to be judging High Plains Raceway. They also have tickets to the Montreal event.
Yay!
Exactly. See, we're not just F1 yappers. We're going to the races and bringing you this kind of coverage.
And we're actually racing at New Jersey.
Yes,
too,
you're going to be racing at New Jersey. I'm going to be judging at Gingerman with aforementioned Randy Bish. So in June, our production might be a little spotty. I know, Craig, please don't yell at us. Bill, please don't text me. We're doing the best we can. We've got some alternative plans that we're working on up there, but it just may not happen. So thank you for staying with us through this. And thank you for putting up with our spotty schedule. We will let you know every time we have a new show, and we will let you know beforehand if we're not going to be able to put up a new episode.
We've got
so
actual,
true.
Life and cool things we're doing, but it's going to give us plenty of things to talk about when we're back, though, because we're doing all these cool things.
Yes.
And of course, we'll be posting everywhere we go. So there's, the majority of people in life are on social media. So check all of ours because we'll be all over the place posting awesome pictures on every way you can on all the channels. So
Every way
you'll be able to see where we're at and what we're doing.
Anything else tonight?
I don't think so.
Okay. Excellent. Well, hey, thanks for downloading us. We hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Everyone Racers. We also hope you will join us in the world of driving, racing, and building because everyone can be a racer, even Randy Bish. If you enjoyed this podcast, subscribe. It's totally free. Then go to iTunes and give us a 5-star rating. Even if you think this was terrible, Give us 5 stars and tell us why. We're guaranteed to read that on the air, no doubt. If you have any questions or show ideas, drop us a comment on our Facebook page, Everyone Racers, or email us, everyone.racers@gmail.com. Text Mental 484-243-0455. Make sure he gets those roaming charges in Monaco. That'll be excellent. Find us on Instagram.
Chrissy's iPhone.
Oh, thanks. That's good. Anyway, find us on Instagram and Twitter, everyone.racers, YouTube and Facebook, Everyone Racers, even Reddit/UNR. Thanks again. Until next week, keep the shiny side up. Unless you've rolled your 1931 Bugatti into the harbor at Monaco, then just try to keep the wheels down.
Moko, stop it. I'm trying to